All right, we are live and in living color. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where we interview special guests each and every week from different walks of life in the reselling world. Here we'll discuss the highs and lows of reselling and dive into great conversation. We are positive that you're going to hear something that's going to help you become a better reseller. I am your host, Ray, and I am joined not with my co-host, Dustin. He's MIA. You get him 1 week, Sonny, and then he goes MIA. But I'm here with one of the homies, one of the primos, one of the compadres, Sonny Las Vegas. Sonny Las Vegas, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. About Dustin, I think his hair is coming out really nice, so it's getting to its head.
Yeah. I tell him, I go, dude, did you get a haircut yesterday? He's like, yeah, but I kind of like it. I want to keep it long. And I was like,
let it grow, man.
Looks good.
Let it grow.
Looks good. Dude, he's got such nice hair. And you know what's
does.
funny? There's like an inside joke between him and Kristen. Kristen always wants to see Dustin's hair. So anytime she's like on anything, we just make sure that his hair is exposed. But he's got a good head of hair for sure. But Sonny is probably his third time on the show. First time it was alone. Second time. Third time, right, Sonny?
3 times. Roger that.
3 times. And then second was with his partner, Mikey Bags of Money. And then now we have him alone again. But I wanted to have Sonny on just because Sonny is like a low-key, like, inspirational speaker.
Yeah.
And we want to make it like high-key. So starting off new year, I wanted to have Sonny on. We don't have anything planned. We're going to just kind of like not do the typical like This Week in Reselling podcast, flip or skip or anything like that. We're just going to talk. And I know Sonny's really good at talking and really good at encouraging people. And someone that needs a lot of encouragement, Sonny.
Who needs it?
Is this guy, Dustin.
I think
he freezes.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm not frozen.
Oh my gosh. We're just talking about your hair, Dustin.
Oh, yeah. It's covered up right now.
Let's see it. Yeah. Show the people.
Look
at this.
Oh, that's beautiful, dude.
Gorgeous.
It's crazy right now.
Let it grow, dude.
It's so crazy right now.
But I was just, Dustin, if you weren't listening, I was telling Sonny that we don't have anything planned, that we're just going to talk. Look at little Dustin. Michael, say hello.
Say hello, buddy.
It's my nephew. So I'm super excited for today because it's New Year. New us, Sonny.
Same us, right, Dustin? It's the same us.
Same us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like it. So again, guys, if you have any questions for Sonny, please put it down in the comments and we can address that to the best of our ability.
Ask away.
Yes, Sonny, for the people that might not know you, and of course, all of Sonny's links are linked down in the description below. So if you like conversations like this, make sure to follow Sonny on all his social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest.
Yeah, keep me busy with comments.
Feedster, I don't know.
Feedster.
But Sonny, for someone that doesn't know you, please give us a quick introduction of who is Sonny Las Vegas.
Well, Sonny Las Vegas is a Libra. He was born October 11, 1980. And I've been reselling for a little over 6 years. I've been reselling now full time for as long as I've been growing my hair out, which is 2 years and 5 months.
Whoa!
So I've found a lot of freedom with what's working for me as being full time, and I think that's when I also started learning more about myself and what I wanted to do in the reseller community. And not so much of like, I want to do this and go do that. I've just been seeing the opportunities of me thrifting and reselling and getting to meet people that I am seeing more and more of a bigger picture that I want to work on.
Sorry, go ahead.
You just call me a goat head?
I said, go ahead.
This is how you treat your
Go ahead.
guests?
I'm doing a little I'm making sure that the people over on Instagram know that we are on, Sonny. So
yeah. I mean, that's I like to resell. I like to learn about things that I come across, and sometimes the things aren't worth getting, but even the experience will teach you something of what maybe you should be looking for next time.
Okay. So would you say 2.5 years full-time reseller now?
2 years, 5 months.
2 years, 5 months, man. So how's it been going? How do you think it was everything that you thought it would be, or
No.
more?
As a narrow-minded man working at a company, right? I'm like, okay, if I put all this time in, go home and work full time, like I'm gonna do this full time. It didn't dawn on me that there's a lot of work that goes in-house, like in your physical home of what you need to work on. And I remember complaining after my first few weeks of being home, saying, "Oh, I got to wash dishes and I got to clean the floor," and I'm complaining to my wife, which was a bad thing to do. And she made me melt, like in a bad way, not like all mushy, lovey-dovey stuff. It was like you should feel really bad about yourself right now. And her reply to me after venting to her for a few minutes, she said, "Babe, I've been doing this for 10 years." And I'm like, man, I feel like shit. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, I want to be a better husband. I want to cook for her. And I do that. When my mother-in-law's here, I'll be honest. I want my mother-in-law to move around, to be mobile, and to be there, to be a mom to Carla. I don't care if she doesn't do anything for me. But when she's here, I wanted her to bond with her daughter, right? But when she's not here, I'm all over it. Like 3-course meals, breakfast and dinner when she gets home from work.
Dang, man, we need to stay with Sonny.
Like I try to just be better, like I complain about, oh, stuff didn't sell or it's taking too long, but there's a bigger picture. If I could be better at reselling, which I have been, I know I could put in less time by making smarter decisions to chill with my wife. Even if it's doing nothing, just watching movies and stuffing our face with popcorn, or something like those little things go a long way. And I also want to bond with my wife more. I actually love my wife compared to some people that are like, "Oh, I can't stand my wife." I don't think they should say that if they don't mean it.
Yeah, I think so. That's exactly. Yeah, I love my wife too. I think Dustin could say the same.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
I would hope so, Dustin.
Yeah, right.
All people.
You touched on this a little bit, Sonny, that when you went full time, like you said, you didn't think about all the other stuff that you would have to do, which I don't think a lot of people, like even me, if I were to go full time reselling, that's right. I got to make sure that the house is to order, because I'm at home all day, right? Unless you okay, so Sonny, do you have like a set schedule? I know that before we started on here, you thought today was Friday, so your time probably isn't the greatest, but like, do you have a set schedule for someone right now that is listening to the podcast and says, okay, I got my monies in order, I got my 2 nickels to rub together in my savings account, now I want to go full-time reseller, I have to think of a schedule for that works for me, that I can still separate work and home, and then do stuff in order? Or like, how do you do it? Do you have a schedule? Do you just kind of like do your thing? Because you're also juggling, social media, reselling, work life balance. Do you have a set schedule?
I do not have a set schedule. And the only way I got to this point to be a full-time reseller, I was telling my wife when I first started, I said, "Babe, I could do this full time." And I think at the time it was something I said to get away from work because of PTSD and things that I was dealing with. And I wasn't doing therapy. So in my head, I was really suffocating myself with not figuring things out. But being as amazing as my wife is, she said, "Look, if you could make this much of what we pay in bills on top of that, this additional amount, say $3,000 a month, right?" She said, "If you could make that, you could do it full time." So I was already doing that within the first month. But the thing is, you need to do that consecutively for a time frame. And I said, you know what, to be reasonable, I think 6 months would be good to do that. Well, I was making up to, I think at the time, my first 6 months, I think the most I made was like $4,000 in a month. And this was just based off of used apparel, not the best apparel, but I was finding some good hard goods at the time. So after 6 months came around, I told my wife, like, "Hey, in your face, here's what I got. This is what I got on eBay, and this is what I've been making. This is what I got saved." She said, "Oh, that was that easy, then you could double that and we'll talk again in 6 months. So she's always been that type of good weasel to push me, but also make me like prove to myself that I can do it. And also for her, she is really old school. Although she's younger than me, she is more of the security factor. And I think that's very important. So although I'm a Libra, she is my balance. We are yin and yang, but she is very businesslike. So when I finally got to the point years later, I realized she wasn't gonna ever sign off on this. You could do it full time. That's when the whole Rona stuff happened. I was armed security at the Win, and I started to realize I was hating work. And one person, I told him if he could lift his mask up after telling his wife which the wife was very like passive towards it or giving towards it. She said, yeah, sorry, my apologies. And I was like, cool. And the husband right behind her, I said, sir, you just heard me talk to your wife. Would you mind picking up your mask? Like, it's part of our policies. And he just said, go F off, And I was like, this isn't the first person I had to deal with. And right there in my head, I was like, go F off, go F off. And I'm just hearing it. And it's just like ringing in my ear, but not in a bad way. I was thinking about eBay and reselling because that's all I was selling on at the time. And I was like, you're right. I should go F off. And his eyes are like, oh my God, like what? And the wife is, their group was all freaking out. Like I get on my radio, which the mic was on my chest. I click on it. I was like, hey, SOG 3 to management. And my manager was like, what's going on? I was like, hey, I see an office because I'm out of here. I'm done. And you're like, oh my God, you made him quit and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, you didn't make me quit. You just made me realize I could do more than what I'm doing standing here, telling grown people to put on the mask when I could not have to deal with people like you. Not that I was dealing with everybody like him, but I guess it pushed me to the limit to where I saw something better for myself that I could be doing with my time. And right there and then within an hour, I was at the house chilling, feet laid up, listing some stuff. Things were selling. I was going to sleep. Things were selling. So now towards the time frame, I don't have an actual time set because my wife works graves, but between depending on when she gets home, if she's hungry or not, I'm making breakfast or, I'm waiting until she falls asleep or even cuddling with her. Sometimes she's like, come hold me. I am in limbo. And I used to fight against that and say, babe, like I'm trying to do this and this is the schedule I'm trying to have. And I realized like that's wrong for me personally to say that I need to put reselling first because this is the whole point of me being home. She comes first, whatever she needs, and then the house chores. Reselling comes later for me. It comes last. If I can't list today, so be it. I need to be better on savings. And it kind of works that way. I never have a set schedule. I just go with what is offered to me of a friend calling, like, let's hang out. Like, I'll do that. Like, I want to do that. So reselling comes last, but I do very well with what I'm doing. And I found that really relieved me from a lot of stress of everything else has to happen in my order. I've learned to give in and found that that's okay with me. Some people, it doesn't work. I'm not a structured person. So I find what I'm doing to be exciting. Like, oh, now I got to get to it. I'm anxious and I'm excited. I'm never sad about listing. I love what I do and the things that happen with reselling.
That's awesome. So, but you still have to be a little bit regimented to be able to at least find times to, some days you say you don't list or do any eBay stuff, but I mean, that it's got to be done.
Yeah. Right? And that's part of, I think, figuring out what works for you and what works for me. I used to think list every day, list 10 items, or you need to get up to 1,000 items. As hard as I have tried for all these years, I never got over 470 items. Because things would sell, obviously, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll try to find more stuff, and I always felt like I needed to make content of me buying stuff, and I find like that does not work for me. Like, I always need to look for things to make it pay the bills and have things in saving and live the lifestyle that I am comfortable in. But I also started looking at just being more knowledgeable on what I need to get. I don't need a list all day, every day. I could list right now, grab a few things, even in my office, and in 2 hours, and that's me taking my time being distracted with YouTube and TikTok. I will list around 5 items that's worth several $100s. That's only because I've accumulated things in the past to where it's been an investment, knowing that it's not going to decrease in value. So I invest in my time. I invest knowing that I don't need to put all these hours in a day. I could do a lot less and do more that way than having to do more and not seeing the balance. So I find this works for me. I'm not organized, like I said, and somehow I get her done.
Get her done. That's amazing. Some people need a little more organization. Dustin, if you were to ever go full-time reselling, you think you would have more of like a set structure time, or would you be just kind of like Sonny and just be like, I got to do this. When I get done with this, then I can do this? Or
probably, definitely.
How would you think that would work?
The family, because that'd be hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not.
Hey, at least you don't have to pay for daycare.
True.
Yeah.
Stay at home.
That's expensive.
Get my apron on.
Yeah. Hey, stay home, daddy, Dustin. So let's say hi to some people in the chat. We have our boy Chris Brown. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Chris, we're going to have a small Nashville meetup at the end of April. You're more than invited. So if you want to hang out, let me know. I think you have my number. If you don't, shoot me a message on Instagram. Sonny, you're more than invited too. I know that you live far, but it's just going to be like like nothing too crazy. It's going to be a free event. We're just going to get together, have dinner.
Go to Ryan's buffet.
Yeah, no, we will not go to Ryan's buffet, but
the Denny's.
Shout out to Squirrel. Says, let me watch this commercial first. Be right there. Thank you so much, Kristen. We have Archie Biscuit Butt. He was our guest last week. So if you missed that, go over to the YouTube or listen to the past episode on the podcast. It was a good one. We have our boy Ken SSK Promos in the building. Chris wants to know what you think about Nico, Dustin,
the savior,
our new quarterback for the Vols.
He's a savior for the Vols.
I hope so. We have Shane, Soda City Flips. Good to see you, Shane. Joe, what's going on, Joe? Hope you had a fantastic birthday. It was Joe's birthday the other day, Sonny.
Joe? Which Joe? I flipped that Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw the post on, I think Facebook for my end, and then on Instagram. I commented on one of them.
Oh, okay.
They are good people. Joe and Nicole, they are really good people.
Yeah, we have Jill is in the building. Let's see here. Someone had a question. Guitar Missy, good to see you. Glad you're here. She says hello. Nate from We Are Family. People still complaining about masks. Sheesh, Asians be happy wearing them in decades. Feel sick. Well, I think it was back then, right? The story was past tense, right?
This was back like 2.5 years ago. But people do complain about masks, but on the other end, to where it's like, why are you still wearing masks? There's still a lot of people out there that need it because of their family members who they're trying to protect, and they can't just stay around in the house, doing whatever. They got to make a living off of, like, I see resellers that do it, thrifters. I see people shopping. Not everybody wants to order like to deliver. I think people still want to be associated with the community. And I think that's what we're all about, right? Is communicating with one another and bonding and building each other up, or if not even building each other up, is just feeling like a sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nate's got a great question, and we can all answer this. He wants to know, what is your postage time set to in order to be more flexible? I'm about to become a full-time at-home dad, and I have it set to 3 days to ship. So
y'all want to answer first?
I can go first. Mine's set to 3 days, which gives me a little, if it's Monday, Wednesday, and then if it's like on Friday, then I got like till like Tuesday.
Till next Wednesday, the following Wednesday.
Yeah. So like it really does help, and yeah, it does help. What is yours, Dustin? Is it 3 days?
30 days.
30 days?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
No, it's 3 days.
3 days. 30 days.
Mine is,
that way, just in case I get caught up in the month, I can get out there.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, you ever going to ship this item?
Yeah, on the 29th day, I'll get it out to you, buddy.
Yeah. Print off the label and not ship it out.
Yeah, I take 24 hours.
24 hours? Wow.
Yeah. The only time that doesn't work out and nobody's ever complained, but the time on, say, eBay does. If somebody orders something late on Saturday, I pack it up on Sunday. It reads it. I drop it off first thing Monday morning. And to me, first thing Monday morning is around noon. I never had any complaints. People just want to see things tracked and go their way. But if you're going to be a stay-at-home anything, I would definitely consider, especially USPS or FedEx, whatever you got, schedule a next day pickup. So that way, if you know that you're home, and that's one thing I've always thought about being at home. Because I love being home. How do I stay home without leaving home, as much as possible, especially when it comes to dropping off mail. That takes time, that takes gas, accidents happen. Let me be proactive. I'm going to schedule me a pickup for the next day. And with USPS, I may have, say, one order that I marked down, but my mail woman, shout out to her, Morgan, she's awesome. She got to know me very quick and I got to know her. And she says, what do? You always have packages. I said, do I do reselling and stuff? She was like, well, I know that works. You might get packages after midnight. And as long as you have it packed in, I'll pick them all up. It doesn't matter how much you have. So it's good to make that connection with your postal services, postal men and women.
Yeah.
So even little things like if she sees my garage door open, just like about a foot, that's like our mutual sign, like that I'm in there and I may have packages. And sure enough, she'll come every time, 100%. Knock on the thing like, hey, Sonny. And she's like, you got anything? And I'll just yell at her from the garage. Nothing today. I just have it open for some air, And she's like, all right, see you next time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I do that with our USPS girl that drives through here in my new neighborhood. She'll just come through. I'll wave her down. Hey, come here. I got some in my truck. She'll take them.
And also there on USPS, there's two options. You could get it for free. If you know your postal service people's time frame, more than likely they're going to pick it up that time. So why not have it the free time? But then there is the charge. The charge is a little expensive. I'd rather go drop it out myself if that was the only option to pay the pickup.
Nice.
They do it for free anyways. Why would you? Yeah. What is the pay? What does that get you?
Yeah. What does it cost? Do you know what it costs?
I know it differs depending on some days that I look at it, but I've never used a pay for service. And speaking of pay for service, the only time I've tried to get my item back because somebody canceled, I was like, let me see how this thing works just to go through the process of USPS to get my item back because it's already been shipped. It cost even more to get it back than it was to ship it off. So I'm like, I'll just wait till it gets there. I told the person, hey, it's already been shipped. Just don't open the package, put on their return to sender, and I'll get it back and you'll get your refund when I get back. And they're usually cool about it, which I don't have too much returns either way, but the 1 and 2 times that I remember last that happening, it was good.
Yeah. Nate says, should I go to 5? I think 3 is good. 5 may be a little much. It depends. It always depends on what your schedule is, but I mean, I would just leave it at 3. That's my opinion.
3 is the safe one.
Yeah. What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you.
Oh, Jimmy.
Let's see here. Ken wants to know, what is the date of the meetup? It's not set in stone as of right now, Ken, but we're shooting for the 26th through the 28th of April. That's what we're shooting for. So people getting in the 26th, we'll have dinner. We can pick and stuff on the 27th. And then Sunday we can have breakfast or go to church or whatever. And then they can depart, if you will. So Departe. So yeah. Or we can do it in Cinco de Mayo because Dustin's birthday.
Ooh.
We might have some stuff going on that weekend.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
For Kaylin's wedding.
Oh, actually, snap. Yeah.
My birthday.
No, I thought she was getting married in June.
Well, they're doing a party thing. I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. I got you.
Joint party.
I got you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ned says, I ship Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, in Australia, in the Outback, LOL. No pickup here. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little different for sure.
And they're a day ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, she's from the future right now.
So can you tell me the lottery numbers?
Right?
Really quick,
Maybe.
Is it tomorrow in Australia? Let us know, Nate.
It's got to be early morning.
Right? I think so too. I think it's tomorrow.
They already know what all we're going to say. They've already seen this.
We've
like
already been
Inception.
recorded.
Right.
Crazy.
I have full-time job. I have 2-day shipping. Works for me. See, it's all about who what you do and what it is. So
Telling you, 30-day
it's just
shipping's
past
underrated.
midday on Monday.
Underrated.
What'd you say, Dustin?
30-day shipping's underrated. Just saying.
Dustin.
It's
So-
underrated.
Right. Sonny, so I want to talk about you're very I feel like you're a very goal and oriented person, or at least I like to think so. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? I know that I like to be, and the new year, a lot of people say don't make New Year resolutions, don't set any goals. I think you need at least set a little bit of something to shoot for, or else you're just going to be going through the year in limbo and not necessarily getting anything accomplished that you want to get accomplished. And then time just kind of goes by the wayside. Mm-hmm. And to do that, I always like to set little goals to get to the big goal. So, and it could be anything, if you want to, one of my things was read a book a month. Is to do that, I see how much a book, how many pages is to finish a book, depending on the book, and then divide that by 30. And then I say, okay, I got to read these many pages this day to be able to hit my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why limit yourself on 30 days because of the size of the book? Why not just get a book?
You're right. You're right. And most of the time, Sonny, what happens is I ended up finishing the book earlier or getting stuff done earlier and then just moving on. But that's just a set thing that I have to do to make myself a little more regimented and get to that goal. So that's worst case.
Goals are always important. Without goals, you really get nowhere unless you just already have it set in life that you don't depend on having to work for your own, But little goals are should also be taken in as a huge pat on the back, because a lot of people don't have goals. I didn't have goals for a long time. When I was in the military, my goals were just wake up and do PT. I knew I was good at physical training. I could go to anything, and I'm in the A group, and in the Army they had A, B, and C group, right? And that pretty much tells you top, middle, and low tier. And I loved the way that I was, and I didn't realize it until I met my wife when she told me her goals. And this is when we first started dating. She pulled over, and I told the story just how it is. I thought I was going to get lucky, right? I'm dating my wife, pull over, we're going to start kissing, making out. I'm getting excited. Snap. And she just says, turn off the car. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. She leans over.
Starting to go into the back seat?
No, we're in the front seat. At the time, I had a Mazda RX-8, little roadster. Nice. And she puts her back towards the window, and she just goes off on me in a good way. She's like, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and nobody's going to stop me. And this was her way of telling me, you're either for supporting me, her goals, or we're stopping right now. And I'm like, man, and I shrunk in my driver's side as she's telling me this, because I started to quickly look at how I was in the military, and what I was doing wasn't a goal. I wasn't thinking about my future, about savings. I was just good at what I was doing. It comes natural to me to work. And physically, back in the younger days, I was really good. I mean, you could tell me I could run at the time 2 miles in 11 minutes, 15 seconds. And if you're like, I bet you could do it faster. And I was like, I bet you I can. I'll just take off right there and then run and prove it to them and to myself. That's how my brain worked. And it wasn't until when I got out, I was like, the civilian world was different. You can't talk to people the same way. People thought I was rude. I didn't know how to communicate. The jargon was different. So I had to relearn how to be a civilian and also show that I am caring and I am accepting of people. I was a robot because that's what I wanted to be until I became a civilian. And now I am who I am, just learning how to live in a much softer world, but be smarter. And that helps me be stronger by having the security around me with reselling.
Nice. I like it. Sonny, I wanted to really touch on this subject. I was just having a conversation with my friend Steven, the Bearded Finds, and he was talking about Whatnot and how he was kind of I don't think he'll care if I share this. He was kind of complaining a little bit because of this Wednesday. I think there's a promoted show, and so for the electronics category, and Dustin's going like this because every time that we ever do a whatnot, like, you know, you can sign up and be part of this promoted show, and your shows get like on the carousel.
Is this with Whatnot or people on Whatnot wanting to?
It's with Whatnot. So,
Okay.
you know, we have a rep that's in the Whatnot or in the electronics category. And so a big YouTuber will come on the platform, in this case, and they'll give them money to buy stuff to sell, and that's going to bring people to Whatnot, right? In exchange, everyone that sells in that particular category, all the shows will be on the main page, so they get to be found. But when doing that, you know, Dustin and I have been selling on Whatnot since March of last year, almost a year. We've always experienced low sales because the buyers get spread out through all the different shows, and nobody wants to buy anything because they're just there for the giveaways or, you know, or what have you. You know what I mean? So with that being said, someone like you that has worked their way through Whatnot and have...
You went mute.
You muted your mic.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? I hit the thing. Established like a good rapport on Whatnot. Like, what does that look like? Because Dustin and I, you know, we had a big Whatnot show yesterday, and we were worried because we haven't been on Whatnot since the holidays, even before the holidays. So there was like that time that we weren't consistently going on, and we were worried that the people would have forgot about us or they wouldn't show up to the show and stuff like that. What are some... So for you, my question for you is, what are some tips for people that are looking to sell on that platform, and how did you cultivate the following?
If I was to start over on Whatnot, I would start at the prices that I felt, even at the bottom price, I would still profit. So if I buy like this glass vase, right, which I love glass, if I bought it for $5, then I know it's worth 30, but I like the adrenaline rush, so I'm going to price it at 15 and see how it sells. I should have did that rather than how I started in the beginning, just pricing everything at $1. For me to feel that somehow magically is going to entice people to come over because I'm starting at good deals. And that's one thing I dislike, people dogging other people on Whatnot, saying, well, I start at $1 while you start at $4. That doesn't mean it finishes at $1 or $4. Price what you are happy with, that you're going to profit on for you to reach your goal. Not Frizzy Finds, but there is somebody that was at FlipCon that you and I met. And man, I forget his name, but I never forgot his information of what he was saying. He was saying when he does Whatnots, he sells his items to reach his goal, and he starts at a certain price. And once he reaches his goal, everything else, then he starts at $1. And what I feel that does in a way is that people show that that's appreciation for people who are supporting them. So those items that start at $1 go for just as much as he would have if he had priced it at the regular price for him to reach his goal. So always find what your goal is. I believe in what he was saying. If only I knew his name, I would credit him for it. But I would do that.
What do you mean by, just to interrupt you there, what do you mean by goal? Like money-wise goal? Or like what? He would like say, if he has a goal to hit like $1,000, sell $1,000 worth of items, and then everything else start at $1?
Yeah. But that was his way. You don't have to do that. You could start up a little less, but a little higher, like at 10, or depending on what you have. We all have different items. Stick to your guns, so that way people know you mean business. And if you want to do giveaways or dollar stars for something just for fun, as appreciation or a thank you, say that. Say, hey, I've been doing really good and I do this, right? But you don't have to do what I'm doing. Do what works for you. Figure it out. You have to believe in yourself. Even when it doesn't work out that 1 to 5 times, you're still going to find a way, and your people who come in and be like, hey, I like what he or she has. I get the prices that they have, and sometimes they can't give, and I'm all for it. If it doesn't sell, then you know it's worth more. You could list it on, say, something like eBay. But I have stepped away a lot more from Whatnot because I've been on knickknacks, and
that was my next question. And this is kind of like, so when you say knickknacks, you're selling on a platform called District.
right.
And could you kind of give us a brief explanation on how all that works? Because maybe this is the first time people are like hearing about District and how you can have under the District umbrella, you can have different stores that you can sell on or whatnot. Like the guys over at Trash to Cash has Dibbit. Like Dustin and I could probably start one and call it Sexy Men, shop.
Sexy.
And I feel that you should. I feel that you should start your own. But with what I was doing, of why I started Knickknacks. So Jocelyn, the crazy lamp lady, invited me on Knickknacks. I was part of the first group to be invited to it and actually start selling. But during the time, I was already in San Diego, so I wasn't able to list and sell stuff because I was gone. I was everywhere but Las Vegas, as Archie has dubbed me. Sonny everywhere but Las Vegas. So on there, it wasn't until like 2 or 3 weeks till I got back, then I was able to start listing. And on Whatnot, for me, I do not have a big following as much as people think I know everybody and I have all this and that. I don't. I still work hard for my own. So on Whatnot, I could have around 30 people, which I'm very grateful and thankful for. And they will support me and they'll hang out with me. We'll have a good time. Even if I sell very little, I'm very happy with it.
Shout out to Jill. She was on our Whatnot stream the whole time. She's here. And it was like a 3-hour Whatnot stream. And she was there from start to finish. So shout out to Jill.
Shout out to Jill. Hi, Jill.
Yeah. Shout out to Amanda. She snuck in here. Good to see you, Amanda.
Yeah, she was like, why am I here? So
yeah,
I would have maybe 20, 30 people on Whatnot and sometimes a little bit more. And some of my best sales were because Harry Tornado rated me. Kevin Commonwealth rated me. Sometimes Dave and Carrie, the whole trio of the maybe even quadruplets because Harry Tornado sometimes with them on their show. Trash to Cash, shout out to them. But going over from a little over 2 years on Whatnot of having good success and then go over into Knickknacks, my first sale because of a raid, I made $700 in less than 30 minutes. We were doing a raid train just like on Whatnot.
On Knickknacks.
On Knickknacks, right. So Knickknacks is a curated marketplace that was created by the crazy lamp lady Jocelyn on the platform District, which may sound confusing. That's why I just say Knickknacks.
That's very confusing. So that's where, like, for me, I feel the train left.
Cartel. That's what I feel like. It's no big cartel. It's a site. You make your own site on it, and other people can do it too.
But a lot of people don't understand that, and like I would say probably like 50% of the people that sell on eBay are like a little bit older, retirees. And so just explaining that to them is like completely foreign. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like the just the barrier of entry is a little confusing for that platform. But to your credit, Sonny, like you were saying, you sold $700 worth of items in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and that was 15 items.
That's amazing.
That I maybe invested like $50 in. And these weren't just any regular items. Like I try to bring my items. I love glass. I have a lot of glass up here, some very valuable ones. So the second time, right, because of things that have been said about me in the past, I took what haters were saying, like, oh, you wouldn't be who you are without so-and-so or this or that, right? So I was like, okay, the next time I sell on Knickknacks, I do not want to be part of a raid. As much as I would love to, I would still do it, but I want to have one of my own. So I ended up having my own sell that I promoted myself. I don't know if anybody else shared it or how that works, because you don't see that on the end of like who shares your stuff, right? But my second sale after like a month of being there on Knickknacks, which I do very good. My average sale price for items from $15 to $25 still ends up being around $33 average sale price, even with those numbers, which is crazy awesome to me. So I finally do my second sale and I did it with an hour. I believe I did it in an hour, still only 15 items. And I made around, I think, 500 in sales. by myself without the raid, and I was like, yes, that's a pat on the back. Like, this works. But the crazy thing is that my sale by myself, I had around 300 top 340 people in that live consistently from beginning to end. And I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I could never get that on my own or whatnot. Not to say that if I don't try, I could get it, but this was so much easier. And I find this to be a lot easier thinking about the marketplace. So you could have like Didbits, knickknacks. You have other platforms that are out there, and there's not a lot of them. If you're live, I believe that they just shared that there's a live on there. And now the curiosity is like, hey, this is a new platform, regardless of what marketplaces you're on, that they're going to click on it. And they're like, oh, I like this or I don't. I'm going to get out of it. But to have 304 people for an hour and a half and only sell 15 items from my actual auction and maybe one or two items from my buy it now, I still made that much money, around 500. And then I just had my second one a week ago, and I was on there just chilling. I know I didn't have the more pricier things because I had sold that the time before. This time I made $420 in an hour and a half. I still sold all of my 15 items plus one more item from the buy it now. And at that time now, I had 78 people on average in there, and it was still a success to me. And again, around $50 investment that I've bought in lots of from things. Like, I bought a lot of items from one single person, and I've already invested so everything's profit.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I know Angie has a great question, and she asks, so District is like Whatnot and Knickknacks is an individual shows? I'm confused. So
Knickknacks is a selling marketplace, like your own website, but you could still do lives on there. And I like that you could do that, and you could still follow other people. You could sell on other people's platforms, and people have asked me to go to their platforms and sell. But I just want to stay in one place. I'm really figuring out what works for me. And before, I used to feel like if I sold on every platform, the better my odds would be to sell stuff. And I found for me, that's not true. Although I see many other people making a huge killing, but for me, I'm happy with what I'm making. My goal is to, I broke this down. I talked about this about a month ago. I only need to make around $300 to $400 a month for me to be okay. But what makes that not okay is that what if my wife wants to go eat? I don't want to depend on her for her hard work. Like, I still want to provide, so I know I need to make more. But that's pretty good to know that what my threshold is of what I need to make is very little. And again, like taking it back minutes ago, I could get stuff from my office that I've already invested on, take about an hour or two to list and list several $100s worth of stuff. And I'm trying to be smarter, and I'm finding that by being smarter, I have to focus on what works for me. So even with Knickknacks right now, currently, I was just talking to Callie Luis earlier on the phone. And he was asking me how things are going, and he's doing good. He's going to be getting back on YouTube soon. I was saying, like, the sales on Knickknacks for me are so good, and me just self-promoting and not having the stress of Whatnot and trying to get people in and put it everywhere. I'm almost considering not even listing things on Knickknacks, just having live sales and promoting it through my own YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram that I have. Like, it's a lot easier for me. So all that type of listings actually saves me a lot more time.
But the success on Knickknack is because of who the store is, which is Jocelyn Crazy Lamp Ladies.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Which is one of the biggest reselling people in the space.
She's like 12. Yeah, she's huge, no doubt. There is no way of taking
So she's bringing her audience. So District, to add to your explanation about District that Angie was saying. So District is the selling platform, and within District, someone like Sonny, in this case, Jocelyn Crazy Lamp Lady, can create a entity within District, another little store, and invite the following to the store. In this case, invite certain sellers that would benefit from selling on her platform to sell stuff to her audience. In exchange, Jocelyn gets a kickback of whatever sells on that platform because it's hers, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Do you know the percentages of what the fees are on District?
I think it's around 13% in total.
In total, like the same as all the other
Yeah, I
ones.
think it's about the same. And from what I think I read in one of Jocelyn's comments was that anything that she gets, she reinvests back into her own business, which we all do. And I find people, I laugh at what people say, like, well, what is she getting out of it? Well, what am I getting out of it? I get somebody that has a very
You get a
solid
lot of
name,
out of it. You get the exposure from her audience.
but you also have the people she's selecting to back up what she's created. She's not getting people that are just gonna ruin her name and taint her and screw it up.
Correct.
She's
Yeah.
very selective. I mean, you would too. If you want your circle to be strong rather than like the negative circle and the positive circle, you're gonna weed out all the bad stuff to get better for yourself. And I feel like she's really thought about this stuff and also like selected me and other people who go on there. Like, she believes in you. And I think anybody who selects you, even for you to invite me to come on the show, if you didn't like me or believe in what I'm doing with all the work that I have to show for myself without me having to say, hey, world, I've done this, you would have never asked me. We would never probably talk. You'd probably be like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
like,
that's high praise.
This guy has no past proof to even be considered. And I find that on social media, this is like your resume. Who I am here talking to you is the same person I am on off camera. And you could go back to my Facebook, like you could go hit years down the road and you won't find nothing horrible about me. You might see me gripe about somebody like breaking into my mom's house and stealing her stuff. Sure, I'm going to say something like, you better hope I don't find who you are. But you don't find bad about me because I've learned when social media came out, like, this is who you are. And if people want to incriminate you for anything or use you, and if you feel you're somehow going to be somebody on social media, like, you really got to protect yourself, especially your family. And I like to look at myself as I'm just trying to be as simple as I can. And as simple as I am doing very well for myself. I am not a millionaire, but on some days I am a thousandaire, depending on my wife lets me dabble in my own account.
There you go. Got to change that password every now and then.
You ask me right away, what's the password? I trust my wife so much. I don't even have I rarely even have a password on my iPhone. And when I do, it's only because we're going out to an event and I've been known to leave my phone in the toilet and I'm like, oh crap, like, you don't know what people could do. So I'll go back to the crapper and be like, oh, thank God it's still there. Yeah. But that's the only time I really put a password on is when I go to events, because I know I'm going to place it down and probably lose it.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions on districts, just so there's no other confusion. Sonny, does the person that owns the selling platform, in this case Nick Knack, which would be Jocelyn, does she get to set the percentage of what she earns per sale that the people are selling, or is that like a set thing? Do you know?
Of items like what we list for?
Like what she gets percentage wise?
Oh, I don't know how that works.
No.
And I don't seem to care. I mean,
no, I was just wondering because it's, I don't know if, depending on, let's say, if I was a person that does like to bring good items and I want to look for somewhere to sell my items, of course I would want to calculate the risk to reward ratio to where maybe I get less percentage, but there's more of a higher.
Like I said earlier, I'm getting only 13%. Like, they're getting 30% because of fees and stuff like that. Uh-huh. It shows me when I list an item and I put the pricing on there, it'll show me what I'm getting back. So I'm very content with that, because other platforms like prices and promoted ads and things like that cut even more into your profits. I don't have to worry about anything like that. I also know what I'm getting and listing, so that's on me. It has nothing to do with Jocelyn or people who created Marketplace.
No, but like, again, like, I get that, but I was just, like, if some people like to look at, like me, for example, I would like to look at the cost benefit analysis of what is the best place for me to sell my item concerning the percentages or whatever. But like you said, if it's a flat percentage, it really doesn't matter. Like, do I go with Jocelyn and Nick Knacks and sell glass, or do I go with Kevin at Dibbit and sell like toys and retro nostalgia, depending on the audience and the percentage and all that stuff. But like you said, it doesn't really matter if you're doing the numbers on the back end. It's just what it is. But it's just some people like to, I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but just some people like to know that kind of information. But
I think some of those people that like to know, I feel like they should be sharing information of what they're doing and selling and their fees and what they're doing.
oh, for
Nobody
sure.
nobody wants to get into that. I mean, it's pretty clear as day. It's about 13% that gets taken out of what I'm selling, right?
Mhm.
But again, no promoted ads. There's no extra stuff. Like I have had a very good turnout with just a little bit of time that has been beyond promising compared to whatnot that I've been on for over 2 years and
Mhm.
have been like really trying at it. And then here comes this other platform. And I feel these platforms are made because there's gaps that companies like Whatnot, eBay, Mercari, they're not catering to people that are more like me. But
Mhm.
something you said a moment ago of people who are trying to sell and what they're getting back, right? I
Mhm.
feel the marketplaces on district like Didbits and Knickknacks, I feel this is on the other end to where it's not so much about the seller, which sounds horrible, but it's not. It's more of drawing in people who are buyers. They're
Mhm.
customers who are looking for things that are curated to them, like my videos and Jocelyn's videos, Yvonne Thrifty
Mhm.
Rich's videos, the Thrifting Twins, my flipping van life, who was just on the Nurse Flippers live just a week or two ago. Our viewers are seeing what we are liking what they see from us and they want to buy it. Not all of them, but there are some. And when you get all of these people who have this content that are sharing stuff, they go over to say knickknacks, they're gonna find a plentiful amount of things that they could select from. They could come over from me and find that Dustin has something that they want. They're going to choose Dustin. I like that it's curated to support one another without having to say that. It just, in my mind, that's how it's working out. And I think it's really good when people start looking at things that we need buyers. We don't need all the sellers because you get too
Yeah.
much sellers and they all have these different concepts of, well, this is how business should work and this is how I would do it. Well, go do it. Go create your own marketplace. District could be one of them, but also with the mesh of what we've been talking about this whole hour, you really have to find what works for you. And I'm
Mhm.
finding that I get to do less and make more from it and have a lot more time for myself. That is my goal.
Yeah.
More time
That's
for
awesome.
myself.
Do you know if you wanted to sell on district, like have your own Sunny Las Vegas store? Do you
No,
have to get approved? I'm not saying you, but it's saying like, let's say me, Dustin and I, we want our own
Yeah.
store on district. Is that something that district has to approve, or just anybody can just?
I think you have a good amount of numbers of what you've worked out on for yourself and a good work history. Like I said, everything they'll look at it, and I think they'll give you a thumbs up. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I would think about the things that I said to curate what you want and not just be all over the place. And then unless that's what you want, like you really have to focus
Mhm.
on what you're working on. Back to what you also said earlier, can people sell on other platforms? There are people on Knickknacks who sell on other platforms. It's not to where it's like you're with me or against me. It's not like that. Jocelyn and the people behind the scenes that really help Knickknacks stay clean and healthy and prosperous are doing a really good daily deeds and also giving out information to learn from on Knickknacks.
That's awesome. That's good info. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sonny. I'm so curious about the platform that I
Reach out
just
to
want to
them.
be able to like get that because
Fill it
it's
out
so
first.
new.
Fill it out
Well,
first.
you have Kevin. You could straight up call Kevin and
Yeah,
ask him.
and I that's a great idea. I think I will at least set have a questions and be like, hey, these people want answers. At least I want answers.
But
Because I want to know how it all
why
works.
I wouldn't do it myself. From what I've seen, just nothing behind the curtains. Like what I've seen comments and stuff when Jocelyn was starting her knickknacks, some of the stuff was like, wow, like you're going after her, but you want to be approved to sell, like
Exactly. That's
what's taking so
stupid.
long? She's
Yeah.
one person, right? And she started getting help with her employees and stuff, people who she has stamped like this is her people, right? To she even asked them questions like, what do you think about this? But from what I've seen, just in the starting, I would not want to deal with those comments. I don't want to deal with people who are just already complaining and wanting to be a part of what you're doing. That makes no
Yeah,
sense to me.
that sounds miserable.
It sounds
Because
like
you're always gonna
you're almost gonna get sabotaged. It's like the
you're
people
gonna
on
step
eBay
on
that are
people's toes. They're gonna feel a certain kind of
right.
way. Like Ray didn't let Sonny into his store. and maybe you and I are cool about it, but so and so thinks that we're not, and it's just like that just sounds like a mess.
Well, it was in the beginning from what I see in the comments, but that's me being the sensitive person that I am, that I think I take things personal, and I'll talk to like my wife and close friends that I feel I could talk to about it and get their perspective. And I'm like, okay, because I'm trying to learn how to be a civilian rather than what I used to be in the military, even though that was years ago. Like a lot of this is for me is mental, and I'm like, no, this is how you do it. It's not always the case as a civilian. You got to hear people out. You got to learn from them. You got to hear where they're coming from, because if they're asking questions, you need to know the answers. And that's why I would not want to be in charge of my own marketplace, because I don't want to run people. I just want to sell stuff. I want to be simple. Find things, cool things, profitable things, list it, sell it, have a good time. Customers be happy, ship it off the way you're supposed to be. No issues. Like I am keeping things to a minimal, and my minimal is having me really live my best life more and more each week.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Guys, if you're listening to this and you want more information about it, put it down in the comments what questions that you have. And then in a later episode, we'll try to iron those out for you. Because any opportunity for a new selling platform, like Dustin and I were real certain kind of way about whatnot. And it turned out to be our bread and butter reselling platform. And I'm, I don't know anything about District, and that could be a new thing that we do in the future. We just don't know. So I want to able to have enough information on it at all times. Like Amanda was saying, Tim from over the years, he has one called One Stop Shop. And Linda has a great comment here. She says that Crazy Lamp Lady posted a video about Knickknack, the formation, acceptance applications, and her minor percentage. It's worth watching. So I'll definitely be looking out for that. First thing to do, stop referring to people as is that just a habit?
Read my reply.
Oh, let's see here. Agree, and that's me learning to speak and hear people to make positive changes. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
That if I don't say something, or if I don't do something and make what people may feel offensive or mistakes, is not intentional. And I'm learning how to speak, when before I used to not be able to speak. With the way I grew up in poverty and being abused and these things as a kid, to the military, it was just a yes sir, yes ma'am, move on. As somebody who's not in the military now, like I want to feel more. I feel like I lost that in the past, and I want to be somebody that I'm okay to cry, and I've cried on.
Like you said it before, you were a robot, and you're very aware that
I want to feel more. Like, this is life. Life is meant to feel. Life is meant to express yourself, whether it's good or bad. But compare me to other people, and they say don't compare, but you can compare me to other people. Like, I'd rather deal with Sonny than with somebody that's just a jerk and abusive and all these other things. Not to go there, but I am very happy with change, and I accept comments like that because I am open to learning, and I've made that clear in my YouTube channel. Not just reselling. I want to be better as a person because I know I can be.
I like it. I like it. There you go. I applaud that, says Nate. Well, Sonny, we're just on an hour, so I appreciate you, and we want to be able to, respect your time. So thank you so much for coming on. Like always, it's always fun to have Sonny on. The conversation just flows so well, and then he always is bringing such encouragement and new knowledge to the reselling space. But thank you all so much. Again, guys, make sure to follow Sonny on all of his social media platforms. Follow him on Knickknacks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep Knickknacks going. What I like about Knickknacks is that you're not just following me, you're following the marketplace. And I like that it's not targeted that way. Some people may not like that, but I like that when you follow Knickknacks, you're following that marketplace. So you get to see
you're not just following an individual in the marketplace.
Right.
So it gets all lumped into this certain thing. I like that.
And I think that's like a team effort thing. Like, we all support one another. We all want to build each other up. And I think that's one of the things that's unsaid that is good, that you don't have to be like to say, we're going to build each other up. And then you don't. Like, I think a lot of people say that just to say that and never do it. I've never been that type of person. For those who know me and been following me, I am all about other people, that I put people first. And I need to stop doing that all the time too, to just watch my own back for some things.
There you go. Well, someone that's always watching R6 is Paul Philly Flipper
Sexy,
in the
sexy,
building.
right?
So, yeah. So, Sonny, thank you so much for coming on. Again, follow Sonny on all of his social media platforms. And anything else, Sonny, for the people?
No, I mean, just live, people. You
Just
gotta
live.
just live,
Live, laugh, love, Dustin.
If you want to be mad, be
Love,
mad, but
love,
don't
love,
hold
love.
on to it. If you want to be happy, hold on to that forever. The only way you could do that is by changing the way you think, separating yourself from people that don't believe in you. Not to say that you need to cut them off like straight cutthroat, but you do need to find what makes you happy. That has been my saying for several months now, and I believe in that. And I'm proof of that. And I used to not think that in any way. I used to think the world was against me, like a little teenager minded person. Now it's like a totally different story of what I'm learning from the world and people. And I'm a sponge. I want all the good things and I squeeze out all the bad things.
I love it. Sonny, what are the top 3 things that make you the happiest?
It was food until 2 days ago. I swore I was going to get in better shape. Spending time with my wife is the number one thing. I love
food in
that
moderation, Sonny.
What?
Food in moderation. You can still like food.
That's my thing. I eat with the weight of my stomach, not with what I'm supposed to eat.
Just don't be a glutton.
I'm learning not to be guilty of that. I'm finding simple is better for me. I don't need everything in the world. I could never have everything in the world. But what I can do is do enough and a little bit more than enough for it to give me the time that I want to just chill at times. Third thing I would say is I'm a people watcher. Watch people, watch what they do, learn from them, let them be the good and bad example of what you want and don't want in your life to be or do.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
I love it. Great way to end the podcast. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Everyone in the chat, everyone that is listening audibly on all podcast platforms. That's a onomatopoeia, Dustin, with the PP or what?
Yeah,
no,
sounds like
that's not it.
What's it called?
I don't think that's the word.
I didn't pay attention in that class.
But thank you all so much. If you haven't already liked, shared, and subscribed, please do us a favor. It does help us in the algorithm, baby. So anything else for the people, Dustin?
I'm gonna get my sled and go sledding.
Yeah, I was just telling Sonny it's snowing here in Middle Tennessee. So you're gonna see some snow angels from us tomorrow, Sonny.
Maybe get my Frozen on and build a snowman.
Yeah, I need to jump on one of your next drafts. I haven't been on one in a while.
Dude, next one that I do on my channel, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We'll pick a topic. We're doing like sit down restaurants next time, I think. So
Chili's got to be number one.
No, I'll tell you what number one is,
because
I can't tell you. I'll be leaking pics.
All don't have the same restaurants.
That's true. All the sit down. Well, these are chain. I think it was chain sit down restaurants.
Boo.
So
Denny's,
I know, right?
Denny's.
Wow.
Hey, Moons Over Hammy is pretty good.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you all so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Like always, my name is Ray.
My name is Dustin.
Guys on the flip side. Peace.